I can answer a bit in general terms on how the supply chain is set up. So typically, we talk about large-scale tank storage of acrylonitrile in the terms of like thousands, 1,000 metric ton, order of magnitude. It can be bigger or smaller, but this is the typical size of storage. So let's say between 1,000 to 5,000 metric tons, and there can be multiple tanks involved at the producer site, and also terminals of third-party service providers like Vopak or Osfiel and similar and may be used. So primarily the product is shipped in bulk, and rail transport is an important part of it. So it's loaded in rail tank cars that can contain up to, say, 60, 65 metric tons, depending upon the geography it is going to. Or in Europe, it can be brought by road or by intermodal transport. And I would say there's a lot of intermodal transport at 26 metric ton type of tank containers, which means shipping to a terminal, rail transport to somewhere else in Europe, and then the final leg is again by road to the customer. And yeah, it's mainly depending then on the location of the customer, because if you need to ship rail tank car to the middle of Sweden, it will be more costly than if the customer is around the corner in the Netherlands or in Germany or Belgium.
Yeah, for sure. But just to have an idea about the transportation costs, I don't know from. I think there is some carbon fiber industry in France, close from Toulouse. How much it costs to transport acrylonitrile from Netherlands to south west of France? Just to have an idea.
Yeah, so my estimate, and this is more like almost a guesstimate, if you assume it's transported in rail tank cars, I think we would be talking about somewhere around 50 to 75 euro per metric ton. That's my guesstimate based upon historic experience. Okay.
Thank you. That's very good. So there is no shipping between the US and Europe and Asia.
Yeah, for sure. There is a lot of trade happening actually. So let me focus on the main trade flows. I should mention that Europe is a net exporting region until today. Although demand is growing also in Europe, so it's becoming more and more balanced. So Europe, on the one hand, is exporting with Turkey as an important destination, because Turkey has actually the largest acrylonitrile customer globally within its borders, which is an acrylic fiber producer called AXA. It's obtaining some of its acrylonitrile from the local producer, but that local producer is too small to support their demand. So they are sourced from the US and from Europe. So that's a big flow. On the other hand, there's some imports into Europe mainly from Belarus, White Russia, and Russia, and some imports from the US as well. But I would say the main trade flow globally is the export from the US to Asia Pacific, which is basically under some pressure because of the increase in capacity in the Asia Pacific region, notably China. So the expectation is that the Asia Pacific region will become more, say, balanced on the regional level, and there will be less need for imports from the USA.
Okay. And there is some imports from other countries to Europe. Is it from US, from Asia?
Well, I would say the import into Europe, the main supplying region is the say CIS region. So I'm talking about Belarus.